I have to say, bro, I absolutely love when games do this thing where, like, they show you something that should be impossible, right? And then you're like, what is this, right? Like, for example, you know what we're going to be making, like the eternal hallway, right? Like, that should be impossible in real life, and yet a game could make that. But, like, ever since I was a kid, right, I've always really been fascinated with, like, how this stuff even works, right? Like, okay, you tell me that this is infinite, right? Or, like, I've seen recently this guy on, like, Instagram where, like, he has a game, and, like, if you go into the middle, there's just more of it, right? So he made, like, a fractal into like a game somehow, which obviously isn't how it really functions, right? It's all just a bunch of, you know, illusions and trickery and, you know, a bunch of stuff like that. And I'll be honest, stuff like that is like way beyond my scope, right? Like, I'm not about to start making like a thing where, like, if you enter the spawn location, then there's another smaller spawn location. But something that I was thinking was interesting would just be to showcase like a very bare bones version of something like this, mainly like I said, the eternal hallway. I'm mainly making this video to just show you how honestly not hard it is to make like cool like illusions in your game. Because if you are someone who's like new to development, or, you know, is just someone who's curious about it, you might be like thinking like, oh, like eternal hallway, that sounds like it's difficult or something. But let me just quickly tell you, bro, right? The whole point of these like illusions, quote unquote, is that you're not trying to make the illusion real, because then the game literally wouldn't be able to function, right? Games can't handle infinity, and I'll prove this right now by saying while true. So what this does is basically this creates a loop that if something is true, then it's just gonna do something. The problem with this loop, however, is that it's gonna try to run itself an infinite amount of times. And you know what's gonna happen if I play the game? That was a mistake, because nothing's gonna happen. It's just gonna not be able to do anything. Exhausted allowed execution time. So they do have, you know, measurements in place for this, because they don't want your game to like blow up or something. So then something like the eternal hallway can't actually be a real thing, but then what can be a real thing is the perception of an eternal hallway. As long as you don't give the player any reason to believe that this hallway isn't actually infinite, well then it is infinite. If right now, if I play the game, for example, right? And let's say I tell my player that like this spawn location is actually red or something, right? It is red, right? As the player, as I'm playing the game, is this red? Yes, it's red, so obviously it's red. Even if the truth might be that it's actually white and not red, if I see it as red, then to me it's red. So that's the idea with optical illusions, right? Like, even if it's not the objective truth of what's actually going on, if you make the players believe that it is, and you don't leave any room for doubt, then it's a real optical illusion. So let's actually get to making this infinite hallway, right? Now, look, I'll be honest completely. I just want a script, okay? So I'm not a builder, okay? I don't build. So this hallway is gonna look terrible. It's just gonna be a block, and then like, it's gonna, I don't know, have like some plants in it for decoration, right? But don't expect like doors level stuff, okay? Initially, what we wanna do is we need a place for the player to actually spawn in, okay? So I'll just make a quick part, right? And let's just add a roof for good measure. There we go. There's a roof. And a quick thing, actually, we should probably make all of these like anchored so that they don't fall. Not just these two, these four. There we go. And the main thing we need to do right now is basically just create 2 points that basically are going to act like the teleport points of the part. Okay, basically, let's say I want a point here. Okay, and then I want another point that's going to be at the end of this room, right? So what I could do is I could say like, okay, I want to make a new version of this room, but then what I'm going to do is I'll just say, okay, then this end part is going to be at the same position as this beginning part, meaning that this room will be at the start of this old room. I know that might not make too much sense, but let's just do it, right? So the way we can do this is I'll just duplicate this, okay? And then I'll just scale it like so, okay? Like, yeah, there we go. The reason I'm doing it like this and not just creating a new part is because I want this new part to be directly in the middle, right? So to ensure that it's directly in the middle, duplicating it and then scaling it like this is a good idea. Because if I just make a part and I'm just like, oh, where's the middle? Like, I could get close, but I want it to be precisely in the middle, you know? Okay, and then I'll name this part start 1, okay? And then I'll duplicate this part, and then I'll do the same thing where I'll move it over here, and I'll name this start 2. I'll take all of these parts, and then I will model them, and I'll just call this starter room. Okay, but the thing is, this isn't it, right? Because the thing is, if I play again, where's our hallway, you know? Where are the rooms? So we need to make actual rooms. Now, you might be saying, oh, but you could just take this room, and you could just, you know, duplicate it, I guess. But the problem here, though, is that this room is a little too small. Okay, we need one more room, which I'll just, I guess, duplicate. I'll just clone this. And what I'm gonna do is I will delete start 2, okay? And then I will take all of these parts, and then I'll just scale them, okay? I'll just make them really long. I'll make them like, I don't even know, can I make them like double the length? Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to have both of these parts again. So I'll just duplicate, you know, this start 1 part, But what I want to do here, however, is that I want these parts to actually be able to lock on to the starter room and then all of the other rooms before it, right? So let me quickly show you what I mean. Let's say we have a room which ends over here, and then I want my code to basically be like, okay, summon a new room and then attach it to the end of this room, okay? So what I'm gonna do then is I'll say, okay, then I want this other room's starter part to be in the same position as the other room's ending part, which is basically gonna make it so that, like, if we have another starter room, that it's gonna like position itself to be at the very end of the end room, right? So this is my desired result. I want the very start of the new room be positioned at the very end of the old room, meaning that we need, you know, these start and end parts to actually match up and everything. And so what I'm thinking we do, and I'll actually quickly rename this to long, or not even long, just room. And as you can see, these starter things, right? This starter thing is inside of the room, which means that if I want this room to actually lock on properly, then I would need its like starter part to be outside of itself, like so. Right? And yeah, let's do exactly that then, right? So let's say this is the start, okay? So I'll just move it outside, which actually I'm just realizing now, I forgot to do a crucial thing, which is actually seeing where this part is pointing to, okay? So where this part is pointing to is very important because all of them need to basically be pointing in the same exact direction, okay? So if this is the start part, then it has to be moving inside of the root because this is what we're gonna be starting with. So we want the direction to be there because this is where we're starting, right? And then as we go and go and go and go, we're going to see the other part, which is going to be the end. And then let's just check where this part is pointing as well. So it's pointing over there. So we'll make this part point over there. And because this is the ending part, then it can stay inside of the floor. And the real quick thing, we need to do the same thing for the for both of these parts as well, right? So show orientation indicator. They are all pointing completely the wrong directions. So yeah, I'll make this part point over there, and I'll make this part point over there. And then I'll take both of these, and then I'll make them transparent like so. Okay, so let's try this out real quick, okay? I'm gonna move the room inside of replicated storage, okay? Just so it exists, but not in the workspace for now. And what I'm gonna do is I'll make a script inside of the starter room, and I'm thinking just to test this thing out, let's actually generate 5 new rooms, okay? So here's what I'll do. I'll say local main part is equal to script.parents. Let's say start 1, okay? And then let's actually just make a while loop, okay? So while wait, let's say 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds, what I'll do is I'll create a brand new version of this room, right? So I'll say local new room is equal to game replicated storage dot room clone. Then I'm gonna say new room dot primary part is going to be equal to new room dot start. So meaning the primary part is going to be like the main part of the room. So if I ever position the room somewhere, it's going to position the room based on this part. And so then really all we have to do is just say new room pivot to, which is basically going to position this room to whatever C-frame we give it to. So this, in this case, being the main part dot C-frame as mentioned here. And because the primary part is this start, then the middle of this new room is considered to be the start, which means that basically the way that it's going to pivot to this start part, right, like which is over here, is going to pivot based on its end part. I know that makes 0 sense, but let's just run and see what happens, okay? I forgot to do a crucial step. My bad, boys. New room.parents is equal to workspace. There we go. That should do it, because like you need to actually position it in the workspace so that you can actually see it, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what's going to happen. There we go. Awesome. And again, the reason that it actually works is because it has this start part, which is in the same exact position as the starting part of this starting room. Now, problem here, however, is that it's been creating a ton of rooms, but all in the same spot. And so the easy way we could do this is we could just make the main part equal to the end part of whatever new room we have. So new room dot end like so. Okay, room, 3 seconds. And then after 3 more seconds, there we go. Another room. And then another room. Okay, so now that we actually know that this stuff works, here's a problem, right? We actually, because we want the hallway to be actually infinite, we don't want to just like load it all in at the same time, right? But we just want to keep loading in new rooms as the player continues walking forward. And so the way we can actually detect when a player has moved forward is, let's just bring this room back, okay? And what was the end part again? Or sorry, what was the start part? The start part was over here, okay? So basically the player is going to be moving in this direction. And what I'm thinking we can do is, what if we just create an invisible wall at the very end of this room? So let me show you what I mean, right? Let me just take this over here. I'll duplicate it like so, and I'll scale it over here, and then make it this big. Okay, there we go. But the thing here, right, is that we actually need the part to work. And for the part to work, we need to basically revamp all of this generation system, because right now it's just generating by itself, right? But we only want to generate a new room when this part has actually been triggered. So here's the way I'm going to do this, okay? I'm going to insert a script inside of the trigger. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say local connection, and I'll just leave it blank. Then I'm going to set this connection variable, right? So because it's a variable right now, it's just empty, it doesn't have anything, right? I'll set it equal to script.parents.touched connect function. And then it's going to give us the other part that actually touched it. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically setting a variable equal to a connection, because you can actually do this. I remember when I was like first starting out, I was really surprised by this, but apparently like these connections are just items in Roblox, right? They're just values, similar to how like text is a value, and like how, you know, a true or false is a value. And the reason this is important is because you can actually disconnect connections. Like so. So when you disconnect it, it just stops being connected, and it just stops basically listening for whenever the part has actually been touched. And I'll explain why this is important in a bit, right? But first we need to actually understand if the part that touched it belongs to a player. Okay, yeah, so I just checked if the hit.parent does not have a humanoid, then we don't do anything. Meaning that if the hit does not belong to someone with a humanoid, meaning if the hit doesn't belong to a player, then we're just not gonna do anything. But then if it actually does belong to a player, we're gonna print hello, okay, like so. And then we could also just do script.parent destroy, so we can destroy this trigger part. And so then if I take this room, right, and I move it inside of replicated storage, and if I just play this game right now, let's see, I'm gonna keep walking, right? It's gonna be a little while. I probably should have made my movement speed faster. And if I jump, okay, there we go. Awesome, it prints hello. And let me actually rename the script to trigger script, like so. Now, just for security measures, this shouldn't really be happening, but just in case, the reason I've even made this into a connection, because sometimes what might happen is that like the game might be a little too slow, and the player might like hit the part with like their arm and their other arm, for example, like before it actually is able to destroy. So in rare instances, what might happen is like it might generate more rooms than needed. And so the way we can actually fix this is we can destroy the part, but we can also say connection disconnect. So then the real question is like, okay, how do we actually create this new room? And okay, this is gonna take a little while, but we just need to create a module script, okay? A module script is effectively a way where we can make functions, as in, you know, code that does stuff, which can basically be accessed by any script, right? So all of these trigger scripts, because there's gonna be a lot of them, they can all access this one module script. And so here's what I'm thinking we could be doing, okay? Let's make a folder. Let's actually make two folders, okay? So folder 1 and folder 2. Folder 1 will be rooms 1, okay? And folder 2 will be rooms 2. The reason I'm making two folders is because we want one folder to control one direction of the rooms and the other folder control the other direction of the rooms. And so then what I'm thinking is we can actually have two module scripts. We can have module 1, like so, and then I can just duplicate this, and I'll say module 2. And so module 1 will be responsible for putting rooms inside of this folder. Module 2 will be responsible for putting rooms inside of the other folder. And really, we can just copy this code almost word for word and just do it like this. Except what we're gonna do here is, instead of putting it inside of like a while loop, I'll copy this code, and I'll just say module, which is this table, dot summon room is going to be equal to a function like so, which is going to do all of this. But instead of putting it in just a workspace, it's going to put it inside of rooms 1. So workspace rooms 1 like so. Honestly think that's it. I mean, obviously we still have to you know, put this inside of the other module, except this is going to be start 2 and then this is going to be rooms 2. And yeah, and then we just need to get variables for both of these modules, right? So local module 1, local module 2. Module 1 is going to be require, which is how you get the actual table of a module script. Game replicated storage dot module 1. And what this allows us to do now is whenever I say module 1, I can access this function and just call it whenever I want. And obviously, as you might have guessed, we'll do the same thing for the second module as well. Now, the main issue here, and the last issue that we actually have, is like, okay, how can we actually like know what like direction the room is supposed to go in, right? Because we have the code for both directions, but like, how do we know that like if I pass through a room in this direction, that it should continue making a room in the same direction and not in like the other direction? And so here's what I'm thinking we can do, okay? Inside of every single like trigger object, we can just give it an attribute, which is just basically like it's like a variable, but that you can like add inside of parts, which I will call is direction 1. And then this is going to be a Boolean. And so initially this is going to be set to true, right? So initially by default, this is direction 1 will be set to true. And so we can just check this here, right? So we can say if script.parent, being, you know, this trigger, gets attribute is direction 1 is equal to true, right? Then what we do is then we say module 1 dot summon room. else, if it's actually false, right, then we just do module 2. So that's nice, okay, right? But then the issue is we don't even have any walls, right? Like, so right now it's just the starter room, right? So what we need to do is we just need to make sure that the player already has rooms to play around with. And the way we can do this is, honestly, we can just do like a loop where we just summon like, let's say 5 rooms on each direction. And the way we do this is say for I equal to 1 comma 5 do. And I'm actually gonna do the same thing where I just get the variables for both modules like so. And yeah, and then I'll just say module 1 summon room, and then module 2 also summon room. But the thing is, here we need to actually set our attributes. So I'll say new room dot trigger, right? Set attribute is direction 1, and I'll set it equal to true, right? Because this is meant to be direction 1. But then I'll copy this line, and then I'll do the same thing here, except now it's going to be false. And yeah, I think that's it. I mean, let's just run. Okay, let's just see what happens. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Start 1 is not a valid member of replicated storage. Where? Oh, okay. My bad, boys. Okay, this is my bad. I was about to say like damn, we're off to a good start. So workspace.starter room, there we go. Not script.parent. Yeah, obviously. There we go. That should work. Okay, wait. So the main part, I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. Start 2. Okay, wait. There we go. There we go. And let's actually play the game. Okay, no, I'm stupid. My bad. let's take this thing. Let's move it inside of here, like so. Okay, so that's good. There we go. There's our hallway. Okay, and let's see. If I'm not gonna touch it yet. Okay. What I'll do is I will go to the server. Okay. So the moment that I touch this, I should see a new part summon over here. Okay. And the way I'm gonna track this is I'll just make a part like over here. All right, there we go. Like so. I'm gonna make a part over here. And I'll also then, I guess, make a part on the other side just to ensure that nothing's happening on this side, okay? There we go. So if I check back and these parts are gone, then we know that, okay, a new room has been created. So let's see. Okay. Splendid. Quick issue though, I'm sure you've noticed the trigger was like stopping me, so we probably should make it can collide off. But that aside, that literally was perfect. And also I guess the transparency should be off as well. But yeah, that honestly works amazingly well. A quick thing actually I guess we could do is just also set the lighting as well, because we actually are able to create like fog with the lighting. Yes, like I'm not sure if you know this, but you actually are able to make something like this where like it's like actual fog, right? Like, and look at that. Yeah, look at that. So we can just have decay. We can just make it like very black, very dark. Look at that. Because the reason I'm doing this is because right now if I play, right, look at this. Look at this fog, bro. Oh man, now we can't see anything. Now it's truly infinite. And I guess just real quick, we probably should also make the sun a little less. I'll be honest, bro, it's a little too bright right now. Yeah, could I just make the daytime go away? Like, can I just make the sun go away? Okay, I guess that's fine. And a quick thing we actually could do, I guess, is like a color correction, right? Where it's just very saturated, or like the contrast is a lot. Like, yeah, look at that. We can make the brightness like pretty good. But we just make the contrast, like, yeah, look at that. Here we are in our hallway, which we cannot escape from. I mean, we could by doing this. So we're out now. The very last thing that I want to test, how fast can we actually move? I'm really curious, honestly. Like, if I take my, the original lamp, and if I, let's say, set his speed to be, I don't even know, what should his speed be, boys? Let's see. Let's make it 200, okay? 200 walk speed. And yeah, let's actually reach, how fast am I? Whoa. Look at that. Can I reach the end? Let's see. Can I reach the end? It really is infinite. Okay, look, I guess that's expected. Okay, let's make it 2000. Okay, yeah, well, fair enough, I guess. I guess no matter what, there always is a way to escape, which is a very hopeful message for all of you. That looks terrifying as hell. But yeah, bro, there you go. There's your game. What I'm gonna do actually is I'll publish this game to my Roblox group. So I'll just call it like, I don't know, Eternal Hallways. Sure. I'm gonna publish this under the ByteBlock's official Roblox group, so do join if you haven't already. And yeah, so you can actually go and play this yourself. Or what I'll actually do is I'm gonna uncopy lock the game. So what you could do is you could go to the game, you could click on like the 3 dots, and you can click Edit in Studio, and you'll get like your own file of this game. And so I'll challenge you, right? Make your own like version of this, right? So you'll have this code to work with, so the room is already infinitely generating, but like make the rooms more exciting. Add like some monster that chases you, like add like some objective that you have to do. Point is, make this game interesting, unique, and fun, and then post that to my Discord server, okay? Wherever you want to post it. I don't know, the server is a bit like unhinged right now, but I'm sure someone will appreciate your work. The reason I'm asking you to do this isn't really to drive, I mean, it is kind of to drive traffic to my Discord, but it's mainly just to make you like truly understand, to hit that final nail in the coffin that these optical illusions, quote unquote, are really not that difficult to actually create. If you like my teaching style and you want like a full-on guide to Roblox Studio, then I do have a link in both the description and the pinned comment where you can just click, you can just preview the course for free, no strings attached, and then you can decide if you want the full course, then you can go and buy it. And yeah, I don't even know what to say. I guess subscribe, because 100k would be cool. You know, I'd get that silver play button. I know you couldn't care less. Like, bro, I know YouTubers do this thing where like, oh, please subscribe because it's gonna help us reach our goal. Like, it's not our goal, it's your goal. I'm not getting the silver plate by subscribing to some guy, okay? But like, you know, if you like me as a person and you really want me to succeed in life, then, you know, subscribing would be very appreciated. And as always, we're back to basics. Thank you for watching.